2023. The time is 2 p.m. I am calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. And if you would please join me for a moment of silence. All right, Lieutenant Ellis, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, changes to the agenda. I think I would just like to handle 29 before 28, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, I would take a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I move that we
approve the.
Go ahead, Bill.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Bruce.
I move that
we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 6.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And it looks like item number 9 is a duplicate, so when you approve the other ones, I guess you can leave it out or not leave it out for consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 7 through 17, less item 9.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, payables, item 18.
I move that we approve the payables list for February 20 to 24, 2023 in the amount of $1,336,019.77. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong amount. I move that we approve the payables in the amount of $1,373,495.60.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 19, our first business meeting item, bid opening for FAA AIP Project 3-166-010-05X-2023, and this is for the rehab of runway 624 and construction of taxiway B4 for the airport. And Kim, are you on the line? Oh, I'm sorry, Corey, come on up. We actually did get 2 bids. So if you would like to start opening those.
Well, let's see. Where is the number on here?
I think you just need the names and the amounts.
I don't see the amount anywhere.
Oh, that's just 1 and 2. Sometimes I let Dave. So we have an A and a B and a C.
Okay, so this is from POE Asphalt Paving, Inc. for the bid for Schedule A, rehabilitate runway 624, $3,448,852.75. Bid Schedule B, construct taxiway Bravo 4, $1,119,966.25. And bid Schedule C for the runway lighting, $175,625 even.
Okay.
Okay, this bid is from Interstate Concrete and Asphalt. For bid Schedule A, rehabilitate runway 624, $4,487,893 even. Bid Schedule B, construct taxiway Bravo 4, $1,033,468.75. Bid Schedule C, runway lighting, $233,270 even.
All right, I would take a motion to acknowledge the receipt and to give it to the airport and legal for review.
I move that we acknowledge receipt for AIP Project 3-16-0010-05X-2023 Rehab Runway bids and move it to the airport and legal.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. All right, Corey, thank you. All right, item 20, this is a bid award, bid number 18WFM-06, and it's for Fernan Natural Hazard Fuel Treatment at Veterans Centennial Park. And Jody, are you handling this one?
Yes. Kootenai County solicited bids for the provision of hazard fuel treatment on a total of 7.5 acres located at Veterans Centennial Park. Kootenai County received 5 bids. Miller Land Works, LLC, was the lowest bid at $2,547 per acre for a total bid of $19,102.50.
All right. Any questions?
No questions.
All right,
No questions.
I would take a motion.
Bill?
Okay, I move that we award the bid 18WFM-06 Fernan Natural Area Hazardous Fuel Treatment at Veterans Centennial Park.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
I think we need the name of the company and the amount. That's because it's a bid award.
So it would be Miller Land Works.
Yeah, I'm not.
Miller
actually-
Land Works.
Yeah, I hear you, Jody. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so just Miller Land Works, and it's 19,102.50. So I will amend the motion to say Miller Land Works at 19,102.50.
I second the amendment.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 21, bid award. Bid number 18WFM-07, this is Fernan Natural Area Hazard Fuel Treatment, Gifted View, Davidson area. And Jody again.
Yes, so Kootenai County solicited bids for the provision of hazard fuel treatment on a total of 19 acres located at East Gifted View Drive. Kootenai County received 4 bids. Next Generation Logging was the lowest bidder at $1,999 per acre for a total of $37,810.
Okay. All right.
I don't have any questions. You
Okay.
want a motion?
Yeah, motion, please.
I move that we approve bid number 18WFM-07 for the Fernan Natural Area Hazard Fuel Treatment. Gifted View Davidson by Next Generation Logging for $37,810.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. So item 22, this is a proclamation, and it's Kootenai County Fair Housing Month and the ICDBG Panhandle Village Water System Improvement Phase 2 project. And Dorian, are you taking this one?
Yes, I am. Dorian Combrick with Resource Management Office for the record. Idaho Community Development Block Grants require recipients to proclaim April as Fair Housing Month. For the Panhandle Village Water System Improvements Phase 2 project, the Idaho Department of Commerce requires that the county proclaim April as Fair Housing Month each year of performance for the grant. This document, when signed by the commissioners, will proclaim that April 2023 is Fair Housing Month in Kootenai County.
Okay, questions? Motion?
No questions.
I move that we approve the proclamation for Kootenai County Fair Housing Month, according to ICDBG.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 23, board approval request, contract change order number 1 TML Construction, Inc. Well, it's change order number 1, TML Construction for the SRE building, and it's the trench drain modification. Corey.
I'm Corey Sigford, for the record. Whoops, am I making something squeak?
You're good.
I just wanted to explain a little bit what it is. This trench drain is for the SRE building at the Coeur d'Alene Airport. It's a modification to the original bid, and it splits the trench drain into 2 sections that would accommodate. The airport ended up adding a mezzanine to the building to make it more useful, and this $1,927 would come out of the grant that would come straight from the state of Idaho grant instead of the FAA portion of the grant. They gave you gave the county $300,000, and so out of the mezzanine took $160,000 of that, so you have $123,000 remaining in the state of Idaho grant.
Okay, questions?
No questions.
Right. I would take a motion.
I move
I
that
move that we,
Go ahead, Bill.
go ahead, Bruce.
I move
Go ahead.
I move that we approve the contract change order number 1-TML, Construction Inc. SRE Building Trench Drain Modification for $1,927.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 24, this is contract approval for the Sims meeting at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. And Sam is handling this one. Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, Samantha Wallace, Deputy Trial Court Administrator for the record. This is just a contract for use of Building 19 out at the Kootenai Fairgrounds on June 7th and 8th. I believe the total will be $1,386.70, which is going to be fully refunded by the state. We just need the contract signed.
Okay. Okay, and so the state is covering the full amount?
That is correct.
Okay, and it's for the mental health meeting,
Yes.
is that right? Okay. All right, any questions, or I take a motion?
No questions.
We approve the Sims meeting, Kootenai County Fairgrounds Specialty Court contract.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And item 25, grant application. This is for the state fiscal year 24 substance abuse block grant, the SABG, for with the Idaho Office of Drug Policy in the amount of $7,893, no match requirement. And Mr. Hall, will you lead us here?
Yes, I'm Douglas Hall, the Director of Kootenai County Juvenile Diversion, and this is an annual grant that we apply for every year. It funds our drug and alcohol prevention program. There's no matching requirement. It comes to the Office of Drug Policy.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we
I
approve.
move that we approve grant application SF-24 Substance Abuse Block Grant SABG with the Idaho Office of Drug Policy for $7,893, no match required.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 26, this is a grant agreement for the recreational boating safety and Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation in the amount of $169,738, cash match from the vessel fund in the amount of $84,869. Our Sheriff Rec Safety Program. Is Sergeant Miller on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Commissioner. Sergeant Ryan Miller for the record. I can answer questions if you have any. We talked about it last week for the application, and this is just the agreement. Should be before ready to be signed.
Okay, questions, motion?
No questions.
No questions.
You want me to do this, Bill?
Sure.
I move that we approve the grant agreement with Recreational Boating and Safety, Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation, for $169,738 with a cash match from the vessel fund of $84,869.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 27, the 2023 USDA Forest Service and KCSO Operating and Financial Plan with USDA and Captain Smart. You wanna-
Actually, I'm going to handle it.
Oh,
Lieutenant Mark Gillis for the record. Thank you, Commissioners. This is our annual agreement between the United States Forest Service and the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office to offer law enforcement services for the Forest Service lands within Kootenai County. This is also for the reimbursement for our services.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the 2023 USDA Forest Service and KCSO Operating and Financial Plan.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And is it all right with the sheriff if we handle 29 before 28?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go to 29, and this is an MOU for Air Support Unit, Kootenai County Regional Air Support Unit, and our Sheriff's Department. Sheriff?
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners, members of the public. We have an opportunity to start a formal relationship with an entity that we've had loose relationships with other air units and individuals within this entity for many, many, many years. We are going on the same path that we did with our K-9 unit, the same path that we do on our food services program, on large operations, fires, missing persons. An individual came forward and donated that $100,000 food trailer. As you know, the K-9 unit is largely made up of public funds, or of donors here within the community. And also the dive team. The dive team recently received all brand new state-of-the-art equipment donated by members of this community. So we believe that there is an opportunity to use this air unit for many reasons. Currently, we do use Tube Air. Currently, we do use Civil Air Patrol. Currently, we do use private aircraft. And when available, we use Spokane County Sheriff's Office aircraft. We believe that this will also assist in our retention problem. Unfortunately, just on the way over here, we got a notification that one of our deputies is leaving to go to another law enforcement agency here in Kootenai County. But we are hoping that this will also be part of that retention effort and a recruitment tool. These type of tools. The K9 is really, really popular with the public. We believe that our industry here in Kootenai County it'll also be popular with. And of course, public safety. We have many high-profile investigations of very, very serious nature that we are looking, and we currently use other aircraft for. And this will assist in all of the public safety issues that we have here in Kootenai County. Next. So as I said earlier, we would like to propose a 2-year pilot program funded by private donors, no additional cost to taxpayers. We are requesting some drug trafficking money to assist in our rescue operation. We would also like to redirect $10,000 that we were paying to Spokane County to our own effort. Next. And those are some of our donors here in Kootenai County that don't mind coming forward. And we are looking just in the same manner in which we have other donor-funded programs, like our K9, like the food services program, and like our dive team program. Questions?
100.
Perfect.
Bill, you want to go first?
Well, yeah, I got questions. My big question is, after the 2-year period, well, first of all, during the 2-year period, you're saying that we will not be committing any funds from Kootenai County.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Except for the
Okay.
$10,000 that, Bill, except for the $10,000 each year that we normally pay Spokane that we would not need to use their services.
Right.
Correct.
No additional cost.
Correct.
But what about after 2 years, when some of or maybe the significant donors drop off? Does that burden now come back to the county taxpayer?
No, this bird is a separate entity, just like ones that we use now. This has nothing to do with an asset for Kootenai County.
Okay. All right. That pretty much sums up my questions.
Okay. Bruce?
Just out of curiosity, how much do you think other surrounding jurisdictions would want to use this helicopter, and would they reimburse for some of that expense?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I've already spoken, Mark Ellis. I've already spoken to several agencies, multiple agencies actually, that have all expressed interest in joining our endeavor, as well as donating to the endeavor.
And that would be to that entity, in
Correct.
essence?
To the Kootenai County Regional Air Support Unit.
Yeah, okay.
And that's an LLC. Is it a 501?
It's a 501c3.
Okay. Okay. Is that it?
That's it. I mean, I guess the only other one is that people who donate, it's tax deductible, right?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I've kind of been in support of the program from the beginning because it is donations and not taxpayer funded. No surprise that, my 2-wheeled family is out in our local forests quite a bit. What I do have concern about, and I would hope that we could address this in the MOU, is traffic enforcement. So I'm not talking about the birds in the air, you got a pursuit. That's totally legitimate, and I would favor that. What I wouldn't favor is enforcing traffic infractions on land or water. So to me, that's not the best use of this resource. So, Sheriff, do you have thoughts on
The
that?
Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is not interested in enforcing any infractions with this tool whatsoever.
Okay.
We agree with your mindset.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then, so just so the citizens are aware, I mean, the LLC is covering insurance, it's covering all maintenance, and they're hoping to get donations in case we have part failures or just replacing parts out of normal wear and tear. And then I think the only other thing is if you wanted to speak to the pilots.
You know, and to be fair, we have a flight program right now that we have to buy equipment for. So that flight program, we would still have to buy equipment for individuals that would be observers in this, just like we do now.
Right, the helmets and.
Exactly. So I just kind of wanted to.
Which you guys just bought several helmets, so we're probably good for this year.
That's correct.
Okay.
So just wanted to add that. What was your
Thank
other
you.
question?
Pilots.
Oh, yes, we have a cadre of very, very experienced pilots who are combat pilots, who are military pilots, who have tens of thousands of hours of flying this aircraft. I don't want to get in anything that somebody just has 10 or 100 hours whatsoever.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Lieutenant Ellis, is there anything else I'm missing?
No, as far as the pilots are, one of our standards are a minimum of 1,000 hours, and then we have a chief pilot with 25 years of experience that we vet in every pilot we have.
Okay. Are there any members of the public who came to speak to this issue? Charity, would you like to speak? Yes.
It's less a comment and more of a question, if that's all right. Is action done by this private entity foiable?
It would be considered a contractor, so only our part in it would be FOIA related. So, yeah, it's not like Spokane, who I believe is more public. It's a private contractor that we are using.
Okay, so sorta, kinda, is the answer.
Law enforcement action, yes.
yeah, I would say that's probably a fair answer. Two Bear Air probably would not, they would probably tell you to go pound sand, that you're not going to get anything from them. I believe our private entity helicopters and aircraft that we use now would probably tell you the same thing. But I believe that we have a good working relationship with this entity, and if there's anything that you or any other member of the Kootenai County wants to know, I believe that in the interest of transparency, they would give it to you.
And their insurance coverage would cover liability issues for
Yep.
everything?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Bill, any more thoughts or questions?
I have one concern that is probably not really important, but will this be used in any way for surveillance of people in Kootenai County?
Yes, Mark Ellis, there's a chance it could be, especially on the drug enforcement side of it.
It will be
Okay.
used for surveillance for a criminal nexus, not for any other purposes other than a criminal nexus. Yes,
And thank you, Sheriff. This will be reflected in the record.
Robert Norris.
Thanks. All right, it's kind of a big deal. Anything else?
The only other comment I would have is just I hope that you can develop some way of measuring from a recruiting standpoint. I think stopping the bleed, if you will, is important, and I do see the value of it as a recruiting tool. And I know we talked a little bit, Lieutenant, about how it could be used, from the very beginning of the process throughout, the first several years of their career at the sheriff's office. But just documenting, what kind of people are coming on board, because of the helicopter, if you can.
Absolutely, we'll make that one of our measurables.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can't believe it's finally here. I don't even know how many months ago this happened. I would take a motion.
I move that we approve the MOU for Air Support Unit and Kootenai County Regional Air Support Unit.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Now we can handle number 28, board approval request, suspension from Spokane County and formation of the Kootenai Air Support relocating funds.
Thank you. Mark Ellis again. Essentially, what we just said, we have been in agreement with Spokane County for the last probably decade where we have paid approximately $10,000 a year for use of their air support. We would ask that with the formation of our MOU with our new unit of Kootenai County that we reallocate those funds to Kootenai County and suspend but not terminate with Spokane County on an agreement.
Okay. Questions, motion?
I move that we suspend the Spokane County formation of the Kootenai County Air Support relocating funds to the MOU for the air support unit.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 30, board approval request. This is the use of asset forfeiture account funds for spotlight and camera, which is equipment for our new partner. And how are you guys saying this anyway?
The Kootenai County Regional Air Support Unit.
So you have to say all that. They're not going to acronym
You just call it
it.
the air unit if you
Air
like.
unit, that works for me. So the air unit, thank you, Lieutenant Ellis.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, for the air unit helicopter, we're looking to purchase a thermal camera, a spotlight, and all the associated cameras as well as screens that will be placed on board the Air Support's helicopter. These are all detachable items. They will be serialized and tracked through the asset forfeiture program, and we've already sought permission through the DOJ to make sure that this is allowed.
Okay. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request to use use of asset forfeiture account funds for the spotlight and camera for the air program.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, our sheriff's organization. All right, Grant, thank you for being so patient. You got a couple items here. Item 31, redundant internet connection with Fat Beam. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can follow a helicopter acquisition. Good job, Mark. Yeah, this is, if you recall, about a week or so ago, we had another internet failure. They don't happen often, but when they do, they're very critical. Kootenai County is becoming more and more dependent every day on the internet. We're going to become more dependent as time goes on with more cloud services being offered and whatnot. So what the redundant internet connection will do is just like what it sounds like. If one goes down, the other will be able to sustain us. The cost is approximately, or it is $610 a month. What will be, it's kind of the cart before the horse here, unfortunately, but we will be bringing a proposal in front of you about changing our phone system in the near future. And what that will reflect is a substantial cost savings. And as a result, this redundant internet connection will be able to be absorbed into the budget with still extra left over. So what this is a contract to be signed now with Fat Beam so they can allocate the resources, but we will not start receiving services from them or any billing until such a date that we determine that we're ready to do that, which is basically to coincide with the new phone changes and the switchover with from Verizon to Fat Beam. So the contract gets the resources in place, but we won't actually get billing until we're ready for it.
Okay, questions, motion?
Just one question. Are you going to be using the capacity at all for anything, or is it just going to be on standby mostly?
We're going to try to run them active so that we know that they're always up and running. So what the long-term picture that's going to happen here is we'll put this pipe in. We'll try to migrate off of Verizon because it's considerably more expensive than the Fat Beam product. Once we have that in, we'll either put another Fat Beam connection in or some other vendor so that we have vendor diversity. But it'll always remain an active project. So we'll probably have like the production internet services running on one, and then our backup systems that push up to the cloud and get our backups off-site will probably run over the other, just so that in the event that one or the other fails, we know the other one's up and running and ready for us.
Okay.
Okay.
I move that we approve the redundant internet connection with FatBeam for IT.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 32, this is Kootenai Electric Facility Fiber Connection, again, FatBeam, and IT grant.
Yes, Commissioners, Grant Kinsey for the record again. So this is fiber connectivity from what would be our sheriff's facility to the Kootenai Electric facility. It's just the most logical place to connect it. It wouldn't matter if I connected it here or at the sheriff's department, but the costs stay lower with a closer facility since we have metro fiber up to the sheriff's office from here. Extending it from there just saves cost. At any rate, we know we're going to be taking acquisition of the facility by the end of this year, and depending, whoever we move up there, we're going to need connectivity to it. It's enough people that we won't be able to do a smaller connection like we do at, say, the airport or the landfill. It's going to have to be a robust
Connection.
connection. Yeah, I don't want to glaze your eye with a bunch of technical terms. So yes, it must be a robust connection, and this will provide that. Luckily, FatBeam was already built into the facility, and because of a foam project we have going on, they're also building into the jail facility. So there won't be any construction costs. It'll just be the cost of the leased lines. So this cost is about $1,500 a month. Again, referring back to the phone project that we're doing, we will still have enough to cover this cost with no additional cost to base budget and still have left over at the end of the day. So again, a cost that can be absorbed with all of the changing that's going on in our communications.
Okay, and is this take the place of the Dakota project that we had talked about?
Yes, I have not gotten any responses back from any vendors on putting in our own. That's still on the table. It could always be done. Okay. This contract, I believe, is a 3-year term. So this is a 60-month term. But in reality, to do a project like that is going to take a year or two anyway. So I'm not terribly concerned, but I think the reason I haven't got a response back is because it is going to be a pretty hefty price tag. It'd take quite a while to see a payback period on building that, because going down Dakota or Miles, I've looked at them both many times. There's a lot of utilities down there, and it's going to take a lot of bonding and insurance and just probably payouts of hitting utilities as you're boring through that. So this is a really good solution. Like I said, since they're built into both ends, we don't have any capital upfront expenditures. I mean, we've paid tens of thousands of dollars to have these kind of builds done just to get from the street into the building before. And since we're already going to have that at both sides, and we can just pick up a reoccurring monthly bill, this is a really good stopgap to getting to the point where maybe we own our own infrastructure.
Okay, so how many years do you think we can do this before the cost is?
I could do a calculation for you on that, but I'd have to get the cost back from some vendors first. I'm guessing that cost is going to be around $200,000 to $300,000. So okay. We'd have a cool decade before we'd be evening out on that one.
Fair enough. All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Kootenai Electric Facility fiber connection with FatBeam and IT.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 33, H&H Printer Maintenance Agreement, and this is H&H Document Management Systems and our IT grant once again.
Thank you, Commissioners. Grant Kinsey for the record. This is pretty standard contracts. We put them on every copier in the county. What we've kind of gotten into is more of a rhythm on these copiers instead of getting one every couple months wherever it's needed. We've got a base budget. We replace them proactively now under a controlled budget. And we did all the copiers at one time this year, so that's why there's 10 contracts in front of you, all needing to be signed. But they average about 0.7 cents for a copy, black and white copy, about 7 cents for a color print. We've done the math on it to own our own copiers, to do our own maintenance, to keep people educated to do such maintenance. It would cost far more to maintain these copiers that way. So it's a win-win. We've got a local entity vendor that's able to provide these services to us, and we're able to do it at less cost than we could do it ourselves.
Okay. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the H&H Printer Maintenance Agreement and the H&H Document Management Systems for the IT.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Grant. Item 34, MOU renewal for emergency use of fairgrounds, and this is between Kootenai County and the Kootenai County Fair Board. And Sarah, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon. Sarah Long for the record. Today I just have a renewal of the MOU we currently have with the Fair Board for emergency use of the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. Minor changes were made to contact information, and there was an addition that was made to Section 4, subsection D, to include details of temporary housing of inmates in the event that the Kootenai County Jail is evacuated. This change is due to the fact that we are working on the jail evacuation plan, and in addition to the MOU will support planning and evacuation efforts. This was reviewed and approved by legal, and I'm asking for your approval to renew this MOU.
All right. Questions, motion?
No questions.
I move that we put the MOU for the renewal of emergency use fair at the fairgrounds with Kootenai County and the Kootenai County Fair Board and Office of Emergency Management.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 35, thank you, Asa, for being so patient. Board approval request pursuant to Policy 930. This is the purchase of absentee ballot envelopes and security sleeves from K&H Integrated Print Solutions with our elections.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Asa Gray for the record. What is in front of you today is a purchase approval request for the envelopes and secrecy sleeves that we use in mailing out absentee ballots, or rather I should say our vendor K&H uses, because we mail out through them as well. So we purchase the envelopes and secrecy sleeves for the next couple elections ahead of time so that we have them in stock. We pre-estimate based on past turnout and the type of election, how many absentee ballot requests we expect to see for that election. And we purchase those ahead of time, and then when it comes to the election itself, we use whichever quantity, including spoilage rates, things like that, for that election, and we maintain the inventory until either the end of its useful life or it has been used up, at which time we order more. So because this cost is over $10,000, I am before you today. It was budgeted for in our budget. Specifically, when I calculated the cost for envelopes, this actually comes in just a little bit under what I'd estimated, and I had probably overestimated a little bit because of inflation. But we are under that cost, and I would ask for your green light.
Okay, how are we doing with early voting?
We're doing well for our March election. We had 107 early voters yesterday. Today was a little slower with the snowstorm, but when I left the office, we had 49 today. So we are still having a decent day for a smaller election.
Excellent. Early voting's open, folks, this week and next.
Yes.
All right, questions, motion?
I
I move that we, go ahead.
Sorry, Bill. I move that we approve the purchase of the absentee ballot envelopes and the secrecy sleeves from K&H Integrated Print Solutions pursuant to Policy 930 for $13,265.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Item 36, this is an advisory board appointment. Cody Christian to our Historic Preservation Commission, term expiring December 31st, 2025. Jonathan, did you want to speak to this at all? Okay. All right, and the board has recommended this person. Okay, great. Questions, motion?
I move that we appoint Cody Christensen to the Historic Preservation Commission with a term expiring December 31st, 2025.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. All right. Item 37, Resolution 2023-30. This is the Fighting Creek Landfill right-of-way exchange with our Solid Waste Department and our Director, Mr. Phillips, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. Thanks for having me. This has been a long time in the making, this right-of-way exchange at Fighting Creek. In summary, a long time ago, there was a right-of-way that existed in front of our property that actually goes across a wetland mitigation area. And so this is a necessary exchange with Worley Highway District. The Solid Waste Department is requesting that the BOCC approve Resolution 2023-30 in regard to the Fighting Creek landfill right-of-way exchange.
Questions?
No questions.
Okay, motion.
I move that we approve the Fighting Creek landfill right-of-way exchange, Resolution 2023-30.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. Item 38, Resolution 2023-31, and this is the purchase of goods and services on the open market in our Solid Waste Department. Director Phillips.
Thank you, John Phillips, again for the record. Kootenai County Solid Waste recently solicited competitive bids for a recycle truck per Idaho code. We did not receive any bids after going through the standard process. The Solid Waste Department then reached out to Legal Services for advice on how to proceed in regard to purchasing the recycle truck. Jamila put together the resolution you have before you. Kootenai County Solid Waste is requesting that the BOCC approve Resolution 2023-31, which would allow the department to proceed with procuring a recycle truck on the open market.
And is there a 3-bid requirement?
I do not believe that is required at this point. I would consult with legal to make sure, but I believe I'm allowed to solicit vendors to try to get the best deal. We would solicit multiple vendors.
Okay, thank you. Questions, motion?
No questions.
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-31, purchase of goods and services on the open market for solid waste.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. All right, item 39. This is janitorial request for proposal. And our building and grounds manager was here, I think, at 2 or 3 this morning, making sure that we could all park. So I will go ahead and handle this. There was a proposal that's been written up. And then what we also have that we can talk about is hiring our own full-time employees to do this. We've struggled in the past with custodian services on campus. And so that is another option open to us. So I'm not sure if you're going to be ready to make a decision today, but I wanted to at least talk about, do we want to go out for requests for proposal, or do we want to consider hiring FTEs, or do we want to go out for proposal, see what happens there, then consider bringing it in-house? Bill?
I don't know. I think we should go out for proposals and then talk about bringing it just in-house.
Sure, depending on what the proposals are. I have a feeling the proposals are going to be way more than we pay now, and so
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, okay, Bruce.
No, I just think we should investigate it. At least that way we have all the information.
Okay, sounds good. So then I would take a motion to approve the request for proposal to be publicized.
I move that we approve the janitorial request for a proposal to publicize it to seek bids.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, we're going out for bid. Okay, item 40 is our status update pending list. And our next meeting for facilities expansion is going to be that's today. Next meeting is March 16th. So that's a Thursday, and we have all the stakeholders invited, and what's going to happen is the construction manager has worked with the architect, and there's some cost savings that we can take advantage of if we change use of materials, and I don't know what else they're going to present at that point. So, any questions, Bill?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, Bruce?
No questions.
All right. And now impact fees.
Impact fees, we're expecting some letters of support by the end of February.
Okay. Were you able to contact all 11? mayors?
Well, they've been contacted, but I don't know if they've all agree to it. But I think it's a pretty good chance.
Okay. Did any of them have concerns and maybe that they would support part of the fees but not others?
Well, there was a little bit, I've heard, reluctance on the part of Post Falls, but I think that we can take care of.
Okay. All right. Questions, Bruce?
No, so I guess with it being the end of February, we probably could get a good sense of the world from them probably by the end of the week or something.
Is that right, Bill? You're expecting them by the end of this week?
No.
Okay. You mentioned by the end of February. Did you mean something different?
No, I didn't.
So that would be today.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm losing it. By the end of March, I think it should be all wrapped up. But I think these things are going to start coming in between now and then, and we can take a look at them at each subsequent business meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to actually call for public comment because then we have an executive session to go into after this. So public comment.
Afternoon, Commissioners. Jim Stafford for the record. And as you might guess, I'm here to talk about the river for a minute. And just a point of clarification is that at the last meeting we had, that there was a question of you were going to have hearings or a public meeting. And I'd like to know what the difference of the two, between a public hearing and a meeting, I guess is how you describe it.
Sure. So this is a public meeting where we can call for public comment, but we don't have to. So it's more of a spectator sport. A public hearing is actually a participation sport where we call on the public to hear from them. And this board has decided to not open it up to a public hearing because we have had extensive public hearings on this issue in the past. So shall we need to refresh ourselves? We've got hundreds of pages of documents and hours of YouTube video.
Okay, well, just so for the record, when you discussed this at the board meeting, it was clear that Commissioner Brooks and Matari were in favor of having a hearing. And I think that based on what happened in the past, that you really do owe it to the public to have them have a full hearing on the subject. Okay. So then the other issue is just kind of, since you're not going to, are you going to accept more comment and information?
Absolutely. Yes, we're accepting email comments.
And when are you going to have this meeting?
I think it was just scheduled. Hold on.
It's the end of March.
March 29th?
It sounds right.
Yes, it looks like March 29th, and I will get you 2 p.m.
2 p.m. on March 29th, okay?
Yes.
And then just kind of I can't help myself. There's a reason that the Coeur d'Alene River is no towing. And I think the same reasons apply to the Spokane River even more today with what's going on. And also, we will be presenting you with more information because there's a lot more current information of the impact that surfboarding and excessive wakes have on distance and what it does to the environment. And I guess there's one other thing that bothered me that came out of the meeting after review. I went back and reviewed the video. Is that Commissioner Duncan, you said, and I quote, since there's going to be we are not going to have enforcement, so it doesn't make any difference what we do. And I think that, it does make a difference what we do to the people that recreate on the Spokane River. There's 90% of the people cannot use that river when at the most 10% of the people are out with wake surf boats. And I think you're doing a disservice to the community by not taking action. And that's why I support no towing period on the river.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other public comment? Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Charity. I'm here to talk about my concerns over something that's been quite public and brought forward about county business concerning another elected office, specifically the assessor's office. So it seems to have been starting to turn into a bit of a public fiasco. And so my concern is that it's resolved as quickly as possible between the parties with the benefit to the community at large and not necessarily a small subset. Just to draw an analogy, it's starting to look like it could turn into the NIC debacle where employees of an institution are wreaking havoc throughout the community publicly instead of taking the internal grievances in the proper courses. So that's just a take from a member of the public for you all. And I'm keeping a close watch on it. I'd like to see it resolved to the benefit of the community sooner rather than later. That's all I have.
So would we.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? All right, then I would take a motion to move into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061F.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right.
I move that we exit executive session and that the action item is that we are no longer going to use the services of Lake City Law Group
For this particular,
for this particular item.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
aye. All right, we've already called for public comments, so with nothing further, 3:02, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.